A Vancouver film director is being lauded for his latest film. It's called Riceboy Sleeps, and it's screening right now at the Vancouver International Film Festival. And it's kind of a bittersweet coming-of-age tale about a South Korean mother who brings her son here to Metro Vancouver, and they kind of struggle to adjust to life here in the 1990s. So with us today are Anthony Shim and Yoon, and they're here to tell us more about it today. Hello there and welcome.
Hi.
Hi, thanks for having us.
Okay, so this is a fascinating film. The story, I'm sure, is familiar to a lot of people who do immigrate from another country, but to what extent, Anthony, was this autobiographical?
I've been calling it semi-autobiographical. It is largely inspired by, the experiences that I and my family had in the 90s growing up here in Vancouver and on the Vancouver Island. And then a lot of it is also by, stories of close friends and families who are also immigrants during that time. There's a lot of stuff that's fictionalized, but the meat of it is quite personal.
Yeah, it's personal, and you're in it too. You role as shall I say the love interest? The character that you play. You end up meeting the character Simon in here. What has this experience been like for you?
It was incredible to have to make a film in Canada because I'm from Korea, so it was just amazing. Also, everyone was so nice, and I like this city, the Vancouver, and yeah.
Well, it is. So the location, it feels very authentically, again, 90s in this area. But let's talk about some of the things that immigrants can face, the racism, that struggle to fit in.
Mm-hmm. Well, I didn't set out to make a film about racism.
No.
I did, the intention was to tell a story about a mother and son who are dealing with generational trauma and undealt grief. But then in making a film that that was so personal, it had to do with the immigrant experience and touches on racism and cultural differences. But all of those things, I wanted to portray them in a really sort of non-judgmental, observational way, and so that these are seen as things, part of the experience that allows these characters to become who they ultimately become.
Yes, and I would never say that it is a film about racism at all. It is simply beautiful how you lay it all out, and it's got such texture, the subtlety of the colors. So where were you going with that in terms of your use of film?
Well, a lot of that credit has to go to our director of photography, Christopher Liu. From the beginning, we wanted to create a movie that felt like we wanted the experience of watching the film to be similar to looking through your childhood photo album, or at least those who grew up at a time when we had photos and those photos went into an album, not a hard drive. And so we wanted a look that was similar to the photographs that we grew up looking at. And so we made sure that we shot in the right kind of film and the right kind of camera.
Yeah, but the acting is phenomenal as well. But Yoon, I'm fascinated by the fact in Korea you're a dancer, and you've never acted before?
I have a little bit of acting experience, but I never be a lead actress.
Like this is your first full feature-length film?
Yeah, and this was my first audition ever.
So how did you know that? Is this a Star is Born moment, Anthony?
Yeah, that's what I was telling everyone when I saw the tape. We'd been searching all across North America and in Korea. I'd looked at every tape that was sent my way, and then our casting director in Korea had said, there's a bit of a wild card, but there's this dancer, but I think she's really got that it factor that people talk about. And so then when we saw the tape, it was undeniable, from the first tape she sent.
Undeniable, Yoon. It was undeniable.
Thank
you were
you.
Spectacular. Seriously, you draw people into the screen. You draw people into your own drama with some of those scenes and that protective, fierce mother that comes through. How much of that is your personality?
Pretty much, yeah. Yeah, but I don't have son, but we have very strong relationship made together with my two other kids, who is in the movie. So based on that strong relationship in reality, I could make it, yeah.
Well, it's very convincing. It's very, very convincing. What about the South Korean locations and your connection to those places, Anthony?
Well, the town that we shot in is actually where my grandfather was born and raised, and so a lot of the people that are there now are distant relatives of mine. So that part of the story is actually quite autobiographical, and so I had that area in mind when I was writing it. So then, once we were ready to shoot, we went over there and we made sure everything was set up, and it's so beautiful there.
Okay, last one. Kevin. Anyone have Kevin?
Oh, see, my building manager. His name is Kevin. First time, it's good. Kevin, it's good.
Yeah, no problem. You think Kevin a good name?
Yeah, it's good. Like Kevin Costner.
I know there are so many touching scenes in the film, but what about when the workers, Yoon and her co-workers that work on an assembly line, they're gathered around a table, and the importance of they've come from different countries, speak different languages, have different names for their children, but they're choosing English or Canadian names for their kids. What's behind that?
Well, it was the same thing that I experienced and all of the other immigrant friends and family experience. How many Asian people do you know that are named Simon and David and and Kevin? It's not a coincidence. We didn't all fall in love with those names. It was, our attempts, I think, especially back then, to try and fit in best we could. And those were the most common names that were presented to us.
Even though your son in the film wanted to be Michael Jordan.
In actuality, I wanted to be Michael Jackson, but then it changes for the film.
Congratulations on a beautiful, beautiful work. I hope it goes far, and I hope many, many people see it. And what a pleasure to meet you, Yoon, as well. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you.